Welcome to Muse Mastery. I'm your host, Aaliyah Cheyenne. I believe every episode is a reminder that your purpose and your artistry are worth honoring. Consider each conversation an invitation to grow, to imagine boldly, and to honor the stories shaping who you're becoming. If something here speaks to you, help me grow this community of wise creatives by sharing the show with someone you love. Now, let's get into today's episode.
And 6 days in, I just woke up about 2 a.m. in a cold sweat. And I knew something was wrong. And I had been there for 6 days. It was a great job and really good people. And I knew I could do a good job, but something wasn't right. And so I woke up and I was sweating for a while. I came out to the living room, and about 6 in the morning, my wife comes out. She's like, "You've been up all night." And we chatted. We chatted for like an hour and a half. And at the end of this long chat about what I was feeling, she's like, "Look, I know you many, many years now. I see you all the time. You are Tigger." And for the last 2 years, like Tigger, like Winnie the Pooh Tigger. And she said, "You excite people. You're a firecracker. You have tons of energy. You bring good out in everybody else. For the last 2 years, I've seen you evolve into an Eeyore. And if this job isn't going to help you get back to being Tigger, it's not the right job. You're just going to continue this cycle." And I mean, those words were the most important words I heard probably in many, many years, because they were right on the nose. And it also gave me permission. Now we were in a fortunate position that financially we were secure enough that we could take this risk of quitting my job. Terrifying, by the way, terrifying. I come from a place of security. Like my parents have drilled in security, have the job. And then I called my boss at 8:30 in the morning, and I had that conversation. And what I expected to be like a tongue lashing, well, you would be, you'd be angry. He was the most supportive guy I've ever come across. He's like, "You know what, Adam, I actually went through the same thing. I get it."
Wow.
And I'm grateful to him for this day. And then you do what you do is you hang up the phone, you breathe for about an hour, and then you go, "What did I do?"
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Muse Mastery. Thank you so much for joining today's episode. And I'm so excited today to be joined by Adam Guy. Hi, Adam.
Hey there, Leah. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to have you on the show. We were chatting a little bit before we started recording, and it's really nice to see you again. It's been a while since we have, even virtually. So that's really nice. And for folks who are listening, Adam is a super cool person. Many years ago, many careers ago, we crossed paths at an affordable housing intermediary. We were working there at the same time. Adam was on the marketing team. I was on the policy and program team. And I have just watched and admired Adam's transition from working in that role and other roles to really founding and launching his own business that feels very much aligned with his personality. He has a big personality and very knowledgeable, and I'm super excited to get into all of the things today about I Know a Guy, NYC Tours. And with that, I want to pause, though, and kick it over to Adam. And Adam, if you could share more with us about who you are in the world today and how you'd like to be known.
Yeah, well, I'm Adam Guy. That's why it's I Know a Guy NYC Tours. Kind of that's the hook. And yeah, I had a long 25-year career in fundraising and marketing for some great organizations like Boys and Girls Clubs of America. With you, we worked with Enterprise Community Partners, some really meaningful, positive work. And then, and now I'm not doing that, of course. Now I'm doing something totally different. And that's really a result of COVID. I'm that story. I'm the guy who was in his tiny New York apartment, all day long on Zoom. And as you said, I'm kind of a bit of a firecracker. Even in an office, I can't be contained. And so that really changed who I was and really helped me rethink about what are my priorities. And while I worked throughout COVID, at some point, I knew it was time to change. And it was a scary, scary, terrifying leap, but I did it. And I started this thing called I Know a Guy Tours without ever knowing how to be a tour guide. What is it about how to start a business? But I took the big leap. I had a sense that this might be the right thing, but you never know until you jump in the pool. And now I'm 3.5 years in, and I am full time. I'm my own company. I had the most successful year I've ever had in a business last year, and I have found my joy. I'm my own boss. I deliver joy out to my guests. I show people this amazing city. and I make them laugh and we have meaningful moments. And I'm in a good place. It's a really, really healthy, spirited place to be.
Yeah, and I feel that a lot, even through witnessing the stories that you share on LinkedIn
Yeah.
about your guests and the stories that you tell. I'm always so interested and excited when I see a post of yours pop up in my feed and to like read about your guests, where they're from, like what you related on. You shared a really fun post the other day, actually, about someone who was in a small airport somewhere else in the world, and they had one of your marketing items, and another person recognized it and said, I know a guy. And I was just thinking to myself, that is so cool. And it really does, as an outsider looking in, feel like you're walking in alignment with what you're meant to be doing in the season of your life. And that's really exciting to witness. So it's exciting to hear you talk about it so passionately and to talk about how you've had one of your most successful years yet. Wishing you many, many more years of success. But I want to get into all the things. I want to jump in a little bit more about what you shared about how COVID really sparked this transition for you. I think for many people, that was such a time of reckoning. Many of us were trapped home. We didn't have a choice. Um,
That's right.
and it put a lot into perspective. A lot of people started asking questions about, like, what am I doing? What is my purpose? How can I feel more fulfilled? What is more exciting to me right now? Even thinking about your work, just the need to get back outside, to do
Yeah.
something outdoors again. And it's just really powerful to think about how that time impacted so many people. Not as many people can say that they've successfully started and run a business
Sure.
for the
Sure.
last 3.5 years, but that time really planted a seed for a lot of people to really want to try to do something new. So I would love to talk to you a little bit more about what are some of the smaller markers that were leading up to this big aha that made you want to take the leap, like the quiet pings that were kind of
Sure.
nudging you along the way.
Yeah, I think, recognizing where I am in life, I'm a 100% extrovert. Like when you look at that spectrum of where I sit on the introvert extrovert, and you know this,
Yeah,
because when we were in our office, we have at the office I worked with, we was a very cerebral, very thinky, very
yeah,
like in the book kind of people. And I'm this guy who's like popping balloons and like
yeah.
didn't fit in into the culture. But I will say that I know that I needed to be with people. And so that need
Mhm,
as an extrovert is really important. And
mhm,
while you're here in your apartment, Zoom as a
mhm.
medium for 2 years didn't really cut it. I
Yeah.
needed I needed to have that water cooler chat. I needed to be like, "So what
Mhm.
was your did you see that Broadway show?" Or, "What's going on with your mom?" Or whatever that thing is, that is the connection that I'm looking for, and I think at the center of what I was doing then and even now, and I think it even sits harder, is that idea of connection and how important that is to me
Mhm.
and what I want to foster with my guests, right? And I get guests of all personality types, all
Mhm.
over the spectrum of older, younger, kids, and I need to find a way to connect. And I tell you what, the tours are important, the information is important, the stories are important, but the connection is the most important thing. And that feeds me, and I know at the end of the day, it feeds my guests.
Yeah, I love that response actually, because we hear that a lot. Like I've been on the other side of it as a more introverted person, where a lot of folks were like, despite the state of things when COVID was happening, like it wasn't the worst thing in the world for the introverts to be at home. But I've also thought about people who have more extroverted personalities. Like that's such a daunting time to just be in
Yeah.
isolation, like stuck in a way where you can't have the connections you're used to having with other folks. So it's really powerful to hear you talk about that as well.
You asked a lot of there were a lot of moments of that, like missing that. And I think it wasn't many things, it was just a lot of beats, a lot of
Yeah.
drum beats of, and that beat got more and more and more as COVID, even as we exited COVID, I learned we weren't going back to the office. In fact, I
Mm,
got a new job for 6 whole days. And
mhm.
at that point, I was like, okay, it's done. And
Yeah.
there's a good story behind that. We'll get to later.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would love for you to jump in now.
Oh yeah, yeah. No. Well, so it's funny. There was a moment. There was a moment. So I'd started a brand new job in COVID,
Uh-huh.
and I was in there 6 days. It was a really good job. It was with Goodwill Industries, so another continuing on my enterprise or my nonprofit track, and I'm
Yeah.
really passionate about doing something meaningful for the world. And 6 days in, I just woke up about 2 a.m. in a cold sweat, and I
Mm,
knew something was wrong. And I had been there for 6 days. It was a great job and really good people. And I knew I could do a good job, but something wasn't right. And
Yeah.
so I woke up and I was sweating for a while. I came out to the living room, and about 6 in the morning, my wife comes out. She's like, "You've been up all night." And we chatted. We chatted for like an hour and a half. And at
Mhm.
the end of this long chat about what I was feeling, she's like, "Look, I know you many, many years now.
Mhm.
I see you all the time. You are Tigger.
Mm.
And for the last 2 years, like Tigger, like Winnie the Pooh
Yes.
Tigger." And
Yes.
she said, "You excite people. You're a firecracker. You have tons
Mhm.
of energy. You bring good out in everybody else. For the last 2 years, I've seen you evolve into an Eeyore. And if this
Mm.
job isn't going to help you get back to being Tigger,
Mhm.
it's not the right job. You're just going
Yeah.
to continue this cycle." And I mean, those words were the most important words I heard probably in many, many years, because they were right on the nose. And
Mhm.
it also gave me permission. Now we were in a fortunate position that financially we were secure enough that we could take this risk of
Mhm.
quitting my job. Terrifying, by the way, terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah.
I come from a place of security. Like my
Yeah.
parents have drilled in security, 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 have the
Yeah.
job. And then I called my boss at 8:30 in the morning, and I had that conversation. And what I expected to be like a tongue lashing, well,
Mhm.
you would be, you'd be angry. He was the most supportive guy I've ever come across. He's like, "You know what, Adam, I actually went through the same thing. I get it."
Wow.
And I am grateful to him for this day. And then you do what you do is you hang up the phone, you breathe for about an hour, and then you go, "What did I do?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I don't have a job. There's no income. What do I do? I have no plan. I have no idea." And my wife and I had chatted about the idea of the tour guiding thing. It had been something that was sort of a kernel in my brain. I had volunteered for 4 or 5 years with a great organization called Big Apple Greeters,
Mhm.
which is a volunteer group where you take first timers around in the city, a lot of them international,
Mm.
just to make people feel comfortable how to use the subway. And I did it like 20 times a year for 5 years, and I loved it. But what I loved about it was the connection. So the
Mhm.
leap to getting to tour guide was simple. Now, how do I monetize it? How do I learn the stories? How do I market myself? How do I create a company? I didn't know any of that. And I,
Mhm.
I freaked out for about 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And then, so I'll pause right there. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a really powerful story. Even just going back to you having the many moments and then waking up and having that realization 6 days in is really powerful, and, like, answering that call, but also having the support system that you have, because not many people
yeah,
could go to their spouse with these feelings and be received well, and to have someone say, "I see you, I know you," and what a beautiful analogy of
it's amazing.
Tigger and becoming an Eeyore. Like, that's that's gonna resonate with somebody right now, like, listening to this. So, that was really powerful.
I, uh, I know I couldn't do this without her. Not only without her, just structural support system
Mhm,
wise,
mm,
but just like go for it. She said, like in 2 years, if you
mhm,
haven't figured it out by now, you
mhm.
can go back. And she was right. I
Yeah.
could go back. Funny
Yes.
enough, now I'm almost 3.5 years in. I think I've forgotten all the skills. So
Yeah.
so I don't know. Now I don't know that I want to go
Yeah.
back.
That's the
But
thing about
yeah,
venturing out on your own and doing it well too. It's like it's hard to go back to what you were doing before, especially when you found something that you love.
yeah, very much so. Very much so.
Yeah, yeah, that's really powerful. And I would love to talk about some of the more nitty-gritty aspects of that. So like you said,
Sure.
you had the conversations, got off the call, took an hour to yourself and was like, "What did I just do?" Didn't
Yeah.
know any of the things yet, lots of uncertainty for several weeks, maybe for months, you never know. I would love to talk to you a little bit more about that transitional period because like you said, it was a leap of faith. There was a lot of fear
Yeah.
involved. There was a lot you had to learn. So how
Yeah.
did you navigate that period of time? How did you set yourself up for success? What were your tools and resources and things that you made sure you built into your routine to realize your vision?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'll say for about 2 weeks, it was a lot of the first 2 weeks was like, okay, start writing lists.
Mhm.
Go take tours. I took probably 25 tours. Like, what is a tour? Like, now look at it from a tour guide. But what does that mean? What is it? Should I go? What do I like? What do I not like? Go look at a bunch of other websites. What I need to build a website. How do I do that? What's the name of my company? Now that had a little bit of a germ already started because I had the name as a marketing company as an idea a long time ago. But that
Mhm.
was a nice little bit of a leap to go to I know a guy NYC tours. So I kind of had that. But what I also said is, you know what I do like? I like the greeter experience, that small, intimate, small group. I like the personal connection. How do I make sure that whatever I deliver, and there are all sorts of tours,
Mhm.
food tours and group tours and international tours. How do I do the thing that I want to do in the way that I think guests want to have it?
Yeah.
And I just felt like there was this place in the market for that kind of experience. And there's nothing wrong with the person with the flag and the microphone and 30 people. That's fine, perfectly great.
Mhm.
Wasn't me because, again, the thing that I wanted most out of all of it, connection. And the
Yeah.
second you can't remember somebody's name is the second you lose the connection. So there was that germ there. So I did websites, I took tours, I started making notes, and then I came across, and I had vaguely been familiar with something called Trip School. And
Mm.
Trip School is like a program, and it's based in New York, although they do it all over, that literally teaches you how to be a tour guide, and they have lots of channels. So there's a boot camp, which is like one intensive week on how to become a tour guide. And then there's
Mhm.
the entrepreneurship side, like how do you found a business? Then there's a couple of other channels, marketing for, and just as the universe would roll out in front of me, 6 weeks from that point, there was a boot camp in New York. And I
Mm.
signed up. Now, the interesting thing is most people who sign up for that are very similar to me. They're going through some transition. Not a lot of like 18-year-olds in that. There's like 30 or 40-year-olds who have a lot of teachers, things like that.
Mhm.
And I went and I did this 1 week intensive and it was amazing. And what was great about it, funny enough, is it literally puts you out in the field. The training is,
Oh, wow.
okay, you're at Central Park. Adam, you're in charge of Central Park. Go give us a tour. And it
Mm.
gives you that real world in the city experience. And everyone got little assignments. And you do that for 2 days. And then they teach you about some of the technology and they talk to you about storytelling. And
Mhm.
at the end of the day, while I learned a lot, and I didn't learn how to do everything because I had been doing some work on that a little bit, but I went in there and at the end of it, what I felt was, okay, I'm not crazy. I'm in the right place. Like I know I can be on this path. I'm okay. Like I'm gonna
Yeah.
be okay. Now, did I know anything yet? No. Did I have any business yet? No.
Mhm.
But I knew that I had landed on soft ground.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was really now let me put that into practice. And I started building tours. And I got a couple of tours. I put a big announcement down there on LinkedIn, right? And
Yeah.
Facebook. And like any small business, you start with your family and friends. And I'll tell
Yeah.
you, the most validating thing I got when I put that first big announcement, here's what I'm doing with my life, guys,
Mhm.
like thousands of people, like, why didn't you start this years ago? I can see you in this
Wow.
doing it right now. Everyone I know, I'm going to send to you. Oh my God, I know a guy. Like, it
Yes.
was as if the universe clicked in a minute and all of my friends said, what have you been waiting for?
Yeah.
And so things got rolling. Now, I did work for another company for about 2 months
Mhm.
because I didn't have any business. I was like, let me get some experience under my belt. And I learned some things that I liked and things I didn't like. And I think that's good. Sometimes it's okay to learn the things you don't like.
Mhm.
And then after about 2 months, I said, okay, if I work for this person, I can't invest the time I need for myself.
Mm.
And then I said, okay, like the training wheels are off, go. And the first year I got like 50 tours, which is insane. I
Mhm.
don't do any paid advertising. You should know that. It is 100% social media or word of mouth. Word
Yeah.
of mouth, of course, at the beginning. And that phrase, I know a guy, really does come up. It's, oh my gosh, you're going to New York. I know a guy. It
Yes.
happens. And then I really up my social media game, which you get to see. Thank you for liking all those posts.
Yeah.
And what I realized about 6 months in is I need to figure out a way to express not the sights of the city, although I do a lot of that too, but there's tons of people who do that. How do I show somebody who wants to take a tour with me what being on a tour is like?
Yeah.
And so I listen to my guests. I chat with my guests. We get to know each other. Now I'm not out there sharing their whole personal world. I want to help people understand that we have moments. And
Mhm.
sometimes there are moments together. Sometimes there are moments with a family. Sometimes there's moments of them ingesting the city that you go, yeah, that feels great. And sometimes it's silly, but I'm always trying to find that connection. So that's what I share. And I think what I have seen the world respond to me is that,
Yeah.
especially moms. I take a lot of kids around.
Yeah.
Moms want to see that there's going to be someone fun and safe that can take on any kid.
Yeah.
And to that point, I'm always trying to find out and with everyone, kid or adult, I'm going to meet them where they are.
Mhm.
We are going to find that connection. Whether
Mhm.
you are the most introverted person in the world
Mhm.
or you an extrovert like me, we are going to find that thing somehow, and I'm going to get it.
Yeah. I love that. That's so beautiful and so powerful. And I love what you said exactly around when you made the decision, when you jumped in the deep end, made the decision, like the universe responded to you. but it rose up and conspired to support your dreams. And I think that's so
Yeah.
powerful too. I love you honing in on the fact that there's no paid marketing. It's all either social media or word of mouth. And that speaks to the brilliance of creating I Know a Guy and locking that in early and really running with that because it's an easy phrase to remember. And I think that's so brilliant too.
Thank you. I'll say this to any marketing person who's like a real pro will tell you that is the hardest and the worst. You can't run a business on word of mouth.
Yeah.
And I would agree. It's taken a lot of heavy lifting, but now I have a lot of momentum. Don't get me wrong. People do find me like Google searching. Sometimes that's great.
Yeah.
Some people find me because of just some other, I've been on a few podcasts and there's been an article or two, and that's lovely. But at the end of the day, most people they hear that idea and then they do come to my presence, and that presence being a website or social media to understand what it is.
Hmm.
And I say that because if you go to my website, which is iknowaguy.nyc, most reasonable tour guides would have, here are the 5 tours I do. Pick one. I don't do that. I'm
Yeah.
like, here are all the neighborhoods we can explore. Let's chat. Let's figure out the right ones for you and your family.
Yeah.
Let's figure out the right ones for your group so that we can really make it sure it's the best experience possible. So that's a little unorthodox, but again, there are people out there wanting that, and I found them. So
Yeah, and I think that speaks volumes to you really being intentional and serious about prioritizing connection. Because if
yeah,
you're keeping that at the center of your business, if that's a core value for your business and you always stay like focused on that, everything else falls into place. You're
it's
prioritizing
true.
connection through your website, through the way that people can even get in contact with you to figure things out. You're very accessible to guests,
Yeah.
very accessible for people to learn more. So I think that really speaks volumes to prioritizing connection. I think that's powerful. And you talked about marketing, how for some folks, it's bad advice to rely on word of mouth. It's working very well for you because it's very aligned, but it's very clear as well that you have not completely left your marketing hat behind. You're still
No.
applying tools and tricks to your work now, and I think that's really cool too.
Well, thank you. So, and to reference back your story, so you started this by saying you read the story online. I'll give you that
Yes.
story. So
Yeah.
there was a woman who had been on a tour with me about 5 months ago, and we connected, and her family was here. And one thing you should know about all of my guests is when they arrive at their hotel, they get a welcome kit from me, which is
Wow.
a nice personal connection. And it has some nice trinkets in it, a card and some gummy bears, some things like that.
Yeah.
But one of the things I also include is this. It's a hand sanitizer right there.
Yeah.
See, with my little face on it, cute little thing, right? And and it's just a nice thing and very appropriate for New York because if you're going to ride the subway having hand
Yeah.
sanitizer, and people love this stuff, it's great. But I know it's a nice welcome thing, and I like doing it for people, and it's a good leave behind, right? Well, this woman who had been on a tour 6 months ago texted me out of the blue the other day. She's like, Adam, I just left Antarctica and I was in the airport in Argentina flying home, and I reached into my purse and took your hand sanitizer out, and I was using it, and I set it down for a minute, and a woman saw it from across the room, and she came over to me and she said, "Is that I know a guy?" She's like, "Yeah, I know a guy." She's like, "Oh
Mhm.
my God, I follow him.
Yeah.
When I go to New York, I'm booking a tour." Like just this little
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
And it was in Argentina from Antarctica. Like, even I'm like, and so this is marketing, but this is also a reminder of connection. So she didn't have to text me from Argentina, but she was like, we now have a connection enough that
Yes.
she's willing to do that. To me, I'm like, my heart's full. I
Yeah.
mean, this is amazing. The heart part it got
Mhm.
me. So
Yeah. And do you find that many of your guests or some of your guests occasionally reach out in that way, like months after your tour? Wow, that's really
sure.
beautiful. Yeah.
I mean, I'm very friendly. I usually friend everyone on Facebook or Instagram or something just to follow their lives. I'm not saying that we're embedded in each other's lives, but I think at the end of 4, 8, sometimes 8 hours, sometimes 2 days, you make a meaningful connection with these people. And I think,
Yeah.
and it's authentic. And I think that's really important to know. I go out there every day as me. Like there is no, this is tour guide Adam and then this is not. You
Mhm.
get what you get, and that is
Yeah.
always me. And the good thing about being with my guests is for me as an extrovert, guests bring out the best in me. So sometimes I walk to them and I don't have the energy, or maybe I did have a rough day, or man, being with guests brings the best Adam out, and they all see that. And
Mhm.
that's very fulfilling. So my point is like there is no, there are tour guys that are great show people because lots of them are actors because it's a good side gig when you're an actor.
Yeah.
and they are great storytellers in that, and I do okay. I can hang in there with the best of them,
Yeah.
but I also know that I'm coming to the table as me every time.
Yes. Yeah, that's really beautiful. Speaking of acting,
Yeah,
so one of the things that I have always remembered about you is your love of Broadway. And you mentioned even at the top of the episode, like during the lockdown, like missing the connection, like being able to ask someone, like, what show did you see?
yeah.
And I wanted to ask you if there are any takeaways or things you've learned from Broadway and theater that really has supported you, that you've been able to apply in your business, especially when it comes to storytelling.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey, creative. If you've been craving a slower, more intentional way to check in with yourself, I want to share something close to my heart. I created a guided journal with writing prompts for growth and emotional wellness, designed to help you process, reflect, and reconnect with what's actually going on beneath the surface. It's gentle, honest, and meant to meet you right where you are. If journaling has ever helped you make sense of your seasons, or if you want it to, check the episode description to learn more. Think of it as a companion in your becoming. Now let's get back to the episode.
Yeah. I mean, a couple things that really jump out at me is the shows I always like the best, or I should say, I'm always in the best frame of mind to see a show when I know I'm present. And I say that because when I'm with my guest or when I'm noticing my guests, I'm always aware of my ability to be present with them and hopefully their ability to be present with me, each other, and the city. Right. And some people are drifting off. And yeah, there's the occasional teenager who might love their phone too much,
Mhm.
but being present is important. That's how you get into a show. That's how
Yeah,
you get in the mindset, right? I don't sing and I don't dance. So there's none of that. I just
yeah,
want to make sure you know.
yeah,
I think there's also some things, little things that you wouldn't think about, but I'm always punctual. I don't think I've ever been late to a tour. It matters a lot, right?
yeah,
I'm always thinking of what happens at the beginning, what happens at the middle, what happens at the end, and all the parts in between. You can't just start a show and get to a place and then go figure it out. I
yeah,
gotta, I gotta be thinking two scenes ahead.
yeah.
And that's about building the show. And then it's about delivering the show too.
Mhm.
And I want to make sure the show is a improper word for the tour because I don't think about it as a show. I don't do the same thing every time. But
Yeah,
I want to make sure that full experience, all those notes, if you will, that you hit it in a show, the big notes, the meaningful notes, the silly notes, they have to be there.
yeah,
Your experience that you give a guest has to, it can't just be this. It has to be so that they are with you and you're taking the journey.
yeah,
And that journey is the city, which is, man, you step onto that Brooklyn Bridge,
yeah,
you want them to feel that awe. You go by the 9/11 memorial, you want them to tighten that chest. Like
yeah.
how do you bring that to them? So there's I'm thinking about that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's really powerful too. And it speaks volumes to the fact that you really are intentional and get to know your guests and
Yeah.
really curate tours that are applicable to them, like their interests, like what they want to see, what they want to learn about, and
Yeah.
really creating space for that connection. So that's really
I'll say
powerful.
one other thing to that point. There are also things I don't do. And I think what's important about that is understanding your own not boundaries, but and not comfort zone, because I want to continue to learn and grow. But like I recognize that there are things that you can do in the city that having a tour guide like me doesn't help.
Yeah.
You don't need me for the Empire State Building.
Mm.
You just don't. It's enough there. There are neighborhoods that I have yet to learn, and the few that I'm a little reluctant to do, like I think Harlem is one of the most meaningful neighborhoods. But I also recognize that as a
Mhm.
middle-aged white guy, it is a 2-hour journey through the Black experience in New York. And am I giving the authentic experience that it deserves?
Mm.
I don't know that I do. And I can do it respectfully and can do it with all the right stories and on the right frame. But
Mhm.
I think there are people well more suited to do that. So one
Yeah.
day I might take that leap. But in the moment, I feel like a couple of the African American guides I know who I have taken their tours, they do a great job. Learn from them. They are going to give you that lived experience that I can't do. And
Yeah.
not that I don't talk about Latin American issues or African American issues or issues with immigration. That's all over the city.
Yeah.
But there are certain pockets where I think, you know what, this is more appropriate for someone else. Or let's go another direction. You love comic books, Aaliyah? I've never read a comic book. You don't want to take a tour with me about comic books, but you know what? There's going to be someone who does.
Yeah.
And let's help you find that person. I think that's important.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
about getting them to find the right experience. And I think that's good. I'll get one last one, though. But I love Broadway. You said it. I do it.
Yeah.
I see tons of shows. I give a lovely tour of Times Square as part of my journey. But if you really want to go deep on Broadway, there's this guy named Tim Dolan who runs Broadway Up Close. I'm plugging him. He does 7 tours about Broadway. I take them. They're great.
Yeah.
Go to his tour. And I've people are like, you don't want my tour? I'm like, I want you to get the right thing.
Yes.
That's the most important thing. And you know what? People remember that just as much.
Yeah, I think that kind of goes into what I wanted to ask you next in terms of your business growing and scaling, and what are some decisions that you're making to maintain the integrity of it, prioritize connection, maintain the integrity of it. And I think speaking to the fact that there are other tour guides who hold certain lived experience or expertise that you are willing to refer guests
Sure.
to, because it would be more appropriate for them to go to someone who knows more about Harlem, who has a lived experience, who is Black, and who can relate to that experience,
Sure.
because you have the self-awareness to know that that might not be the best space, particularly in times like these.
Sure.
Or even thinking about, as much as you love Broadway and tours, there's someone else who has incredible tours, and maybe go see them. So I think that's really, really important. And keeping those things in mind help to maintain the integrity of your business and your authenticity too, in building and forming connections with people, showing them that they can trust your word. You have good advice, you have good tips for other opportunities as well. So I think that speaks to building those connections as well.
And that's not to say I'm not going to continue to learn. There are a few neighborhoods that are on my list to grow, get better, more stories, and I will do that. I'm 3.5 years in. New York is 400 years old, and, 8.5 million people. I know about 5% of the 100%, and that's really good. So if I can get to 10% by the time I'm done, I'm smarter than 99% of the people here. So, and again, as much as it is about the knowledge, it's also about the experience as a whole.
Yeah.
When do you stop and tell the story? When do you stop talking? When do you just make it about breathing? When do you make it about the jokes? When do you make it about, let's just take a bunch of pictures. This feels right. Let's stop and capture the moment. Like, that's as much of what I'm thinking about as I am getting to the next spot.
Yeah. And I think that's really powerful. It makes me think, obviously, we all have intuition and we kind of know, but are there specific things you see sometimes on your tours, like with guests, where you're kind of like, okay, like maybe this is a minute to pause here. Like maybe, like what are some of the behaviors you kind of pick up on that let you know how to pivot or adjust?
Yeah. So right off the bat, I think the first thing is how quickly can you make your connection? And that's really, and that doesn't mean, I don't mean like we're going to be best friends right away, but I try very quickly to break down that Adam is a stranger barrier. And the good thing is there are a few moments before we ever meet that happens.
Yeah.
Like whoever's getting the tour for me, we always have a conversation. We always have a phone call where we actually plan their whole trip, not just the tour with me.
Yeah.
And I help them. That's a good added value. So hopefully they know me. And then I say, funny enough, I say, stalk me, check me out online, make sure you know. And then we meet, they get the package. That's another little barrier. And then we spend time.
Yeah.
And part of the journey is I meet them at their hotel and we subway together. So I teach them the subway. That builds trust. We take the ride on the subway, which always is allowed for some fun and chatty things and cute moments, and then we start moving. And then I am watching. I call it reading the room.
Yes.
How are people walking? How are they observing the world? Listen, this is the most important thing on any of my tours. Are they hungry and do they have to go to the bathroom? Those two things are, strangely, if those two things are not addressed all the time, the fun stops, right? So checking in with them on that stuff. I think, how fast are we going? New Yorkers, and you're a New Yorker, we walk fast. Or like I say, we actually don't walk fast. I want to make sure we walk with purpose.
Okay.
We know where we're going. We are getting places. So we think about that. It's not so much about accomplishing 100% of the things in the plan, although I have a plan and now I know how long it takes.
Yeah.
But how do we read that room, right? Or, we're going along the way and I listen to somebody say something about, oh my God, I love graffiti. Oh, you don't think I'm going to pivot and find that graffiti? I sure am, if I can. Or, oh, I can sense this person needs a sugar break. Let's go get a chocolate shop. Or this person, it happens, of course, at like the 9/11 memorial a lot. And some of those meetings really, everyone, somebody who knows somebody who was there. What I think is most important to me is so before we hit the memorial, we always step aside from the memorial, and we talk about the story, like what happened on the day. And I always make the parents or the adults, when there's kids there, where were you? Tell me about it. And sometimes it's the first time the kid has heard what their parents experienced, because that sometimes just isn't what. And so I want the kids to hear from their parents. I want them to understand. And then once we do the memorial, I ask the kids all the questions. What do you think? What do you feel? My hope is that when it goes back, they're having more conversations. And inevitably, there's a few where a mom or a dad knows a person, and they tell me, I'm like, let's go find their name. And so as a family, as a group, we go find their name, and we just sit there for a minute and we just reflect, and it creates meaning. And there are other places in the city. I don't want to minimize that, but that one, of course, is a moment of trauma and healing. And so, those are the kinds of things I'm watching for.
Yeah, and those are all really important. The basics, hungry, bathroom, sugar break, yes, but also really listening to the interests that your guests have, things that you might not have known before, but it comes up in conversation, being open to pivoting and adjusting to show your guests more of that, what they're interested in, and really taking a moment to have that connection at many places, but also at the memorial, because it's so interesting to me, because I imagine you get kids like of all ages, of course, that attend these tours, but some of them probably aren't even like born yet and don't even know that history, and like really learning a little bit about it and hearing their parents' accounts of that, I'm sure like creates a bonding moment for them too, just as a family. So it's really powerful that you can usher them into that space.
And there's spots all over the city like that, like Roosevelt Island. That's a really mysterious place that nobody knows about. I love it. I used to live there. How do we make sure that kids get excited about the smallpox hospital? First of all, we got to talk about what smallpox is. What in the world is that? And so I'm a little goofy around there despite its seriousness. And I'm like, okay, did everyone eat breakfast today? Because you might get a little sick. I'm going to show you a picture of smallpox. Now I have a picture of somebody's hand. It's a very safe picture. But like, then we have that ooh moment as kind of a funny thing to break down that. So there's little moments like that. But those are pretty cool too. And I'm trying to, how many moments can we see stick?
Yeah, I love that. And I don't want you to give all your special tour
No,
secrets
it's okay.
away, but like, thank you for sharing those. And even as a like native New Yorker, I think I've been to Roosevelt Island like once.
So great.
And it was
great.
very cool. I really enjoyed it. I was like, oh, I need to come out here more often, taking the
You know
little
what?
lift thing out there. And
For some of your work from home days, my secret spot to work from home, go to Cornell Tech's cafeteria. They got Wi-Fi, they got restrooms, a cafeteria. Just 4 or 5 hours there, you're good to go. That's you and nobody, just between you and me.
Between you, me, and us, and everybody listening. But yes,
everybody.
I love that. That's so good. I need to make another trip out there. That's really good. Thank you for sharing that. So we're getting near to our end, but you've shared so much incredible information about how you got started, answering the call, listening to your body, how you felt, really connecting with your support system, your wife, anyone else around you. And this show is all about creativity, alignment, purpose, and all of those things. And something I've spoken about on the show before is really listening to yourself when you hear that call, that something needs to change, something needs to shift. So for anyone who might be listening right now, who's considering making a change, who's considering doing something different, what advice would you kind of tell them about timing and taking the leap?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey, creative. If you're craving a quieter corner of the internet, one that's thoughtful, soulful, and actually nourishing, I'd love to invite you to my Substack. You can follow me at Aaliyah Cheyenne on Substack, where I write The Feminine Urge to Create and Pages and Portals. It's where I share reflections on creativity, purpose, books, and becoming. A slow, honest writing for this season of your life. If that sounds like your kind of space, check the episode description and come sit with me there. Okay, let's get back to the episode.
Yeah, I think it is scary. You should know that. And
Mhm.
we keep saying take the leap. There's an expression beyond that says leap and the net shall appear.
Mm.
And I got that a lot. And it's a really profound statement because sure enough, when you take the leap, it does appear. Does it always appear? Of course not. Or maybe it doesn't appear the first time, but I think you got to do it smart. You got to plan. You can't just expect things to happen. It is about your proactive effort.
Yeah.
It is walking 3 steps and taking 2 steps back. It is, oh gosh, I have to pivot to the left. I pivoted to the left and I really needed to stay straight. It's, oh, I
Mhm.
need to be confident and stay my course. It's not going well, but I'm not giving it enough time. All of that trepidation, I think it's not easy. And there is no right answer and there's no exact course. And you're going to make a lot of mistakes. And the 6th time gets easier and the 7th time gets easier and the 10th time gets easier. And then you have another 10 to go. I'd say just give it a shot and try and get over that fear. You're going to feel like an imposter no matter
Yes.
what you do. If you got
Yeah.
25 years of doing it, you got to build up that confidence. Sometimes you got to sort of fake it till you make it and it'll come.
Yeah.
But I'll also say that in the end, and it took a lot of work to get to where I am today and know that that first year was a hard year.
Mhm.
Like I'm walking with my shoulders back now. I
Yeah.
don't feel that same kind of stress that I did working for somebody else. My stress doesn't feel like the weight of the world. My stress feels like busy. And that's a different kind of stress because
Yeah.
at least I know where the busy's going and I'm also in control of that busy.
Yes.
I genuinely feel joy when I do the things I do. And that doesn't mean I don't work a lot. If I turn the
Mhm.
screen around, you would see an entire desk set full of packages and books. And I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes I'm up at 5 in the morning and sometimes I'm working till midnight, right? I have global
Yeah.
clients. But when it's working for yourself, feels different.
Yes,
It
it
just
does.
does that 80-hour week, it's your week.
Yeah.
Because tomorrow I can put it down if I want to. Now, as an extrovert and
Yeah.
somebody who doesn't sit still very well, I like to stay busy. It's important to me to stay busy. So I write a lot of social media and I write a lot of blogs and I'm doing a lot of research and doing a lot of notes and I like to be busy. I mean,
Yeah.
I can go 10, 12, 14 days in a row giving tours every day. I'm good.
Yeah.
Physically, I need to slow down a little bit too. I did almost 3,400 miles last year walking alone. It was great.
Wow.
Um, but to sort of people listening is you can do it. You can
Mhm.
do it. You have to plan. You have to try. It's an inertia thing sometimes. It's you need to keep moving forward
Yeah.
or backwards or forward. But the second you stop, you stop.
Yeah.
Keep moving forward. I'm really proud of myself at
Yes.
this point. Like that sounds like a weird thing to say,
It's not.
right? I'm earning a living in New York City. That's crazy in a
Mhm.
tough industry, a competitive industry.
Mm.
I did it. It's wrong to say by myself because my wife, who's the guy behind the guy, right? Absolutely
Mhm.
supportive. My friend network, incredibly supportive.
Yeah.
Now my tour guests are telling the world about me. How do I not just feel so prideful of that? It's
Yes.
amazing. But I just feel so proud that I found my thing for now. People say
Yeah.
you found your dream. I don't know if this is my dream. This just is my purpose now. Listen,
Yes.
I did nonprofit work for 25 years. I did really amazing stuff. I feel great about that.
Yeah.
That was my purpose then. Today it's my purpose now. And I just, you know,
Yeah.
anyway, it feels great. It feels great. That's
Yeah.
it.
I think it's really incredible that you feel proud of yourself. You should. You've accomplished really cool things. I know you feel super grateful as well just for your community around you who have supported you,
Yeah.
lifted you up, your guests and your clients who continue to tell the story of their experience. And I think that's really profound. And
Yeah.
I love your advice about how there's never a perfect timing. You have to take the leap, the net will appear, and just really listening and encouraging people to tap into themselves. Like your purpose can evolve. I've talked about that on this show too. Even what you said
Yeah.
about your purpose then for 25 years was doing incredible work at nonprofits and marketing and fundraising. Your purpose now is I know a guy, NYC Tours. This is your purpose now. It might change in the future, and that's okay. It's okay to be present and do what you love and enjoy now and be okay with pivoting in the future if you need to.
Yeah. Yeah, for me now it's about connection and putting a little joy into the world. I'm in the joy business. I'm in
Yeah.
the making people laugh, making people smile, creating meaning. And when you do that for others, I think no matter what you do, people know when you actually care. And when you actually care, I don't care what you're doing, construction, nursing, when people see that you genuinely care, they want to be with you, they want to connect with you. And that's everything.
Yeah, that is everything. So on that note, Adam, you also mentioned you hit 3,400 miles last year walking, and I've seen the transformation even in your pictures about how like doing these tours has even impacted your health. Can you talk a little bit more about just how this has helped to support your routine and prioritizing movement? Because something I've realized in a lot of conversations with creatives and entrepreneurs is a lot of people, because of that 80-hour work week or that 12 to 14-hour day, like, they're not aside that time for
Oh,
self-care and movement.
yeah, I
Yeah,
don't go work out anymore because I'm going to
yeah,
go walk 20 miles today. So
yes,
no need
yeah,
to do that. I think it's been really helpful to me. I'm not saying like I'm the most fit person ever. I'm not going to go run a marathon, but
yeah,
I have an endurance that,
mhm,
I can get out the door at 7 o'clock, be home at 10 o'clock, and I'll be fine. And I
yeah,
can do it again the next day. Usually by about day 9 or 10, I need to take a break, but
yeah,
there is, it has been a healthful experience mentally and physically to be active. The only thing that ever gets too much of a workout is my voice. Every once in a while, I'll have to like, I'll come home and I'll be like, I'm not saying anything to my wife. She's like, you're not talking to me. I'm like, I've talked for 8 hours.
yeah,
I'm not talking for three.
yeah,
So, and she'll get that. But yeah, again, I think that's also about whatever those mechanics, the synapses, and you're firing your adrenaline, you're working out the body as a muscle as
mhm,
much as you are the brain. And I think that's good. That's just
yeah,
healthy. Like I
yeah,
say, I'm not doing an Ironman tomorrow, but
yeah,
you set me out in the day. I'm going, people, and I understand when people come here, walking New York is a different world.
yes,
And I tell people all the time, like, you're going to walk 12,000 steps with me in the first 4 hours. That's
wow,
more than you did last week.
yeah,
So it's okay. You got to, be here a couple days. You'll get your New York legs.
yes,
But I think you also know walking in New York isn't walking anywhere else. It is
yeah,
magical. This city is, and I always tell people, especially with parents with kids, let the city do the work.
mhm,
Go walk down, 6th Avenue and see Radio City, and then go see, that weird store with the coffee shop that's spelled with a Q or whatever.
yeah,
Let the city do the work, and
yeah.
that walking disappears.
Mhm. That's so true. There's a creator and an influencer that I like, and she in the summer when the weather's nice, she loves going on her 14-mile walks, hot girl walks
Yeah.
in the city, just going running errands, like, just walking just to walk, like, doing everything in between because there's just so much to see and so much to do, and it never gets old, so
It doesn't ever get old. That's true. And there's always more to see. I've probably seen 10% of the city, 20% maybe.
wow.
And that's a lot. There's just so much. I even, as I go through social media, I keep a running list of, oh, I need to check out that neighborhood, or,
Mhm.
oh, there's this museum that I never saw. Just a week or two ago, my wife and I was an empty day. We went out to Queens. We live in Queens, but another area of Queens. And there's this amazing little museum. It's an old house from a guy named Lewis Latimer. I don't know if you've ever heard of
Yes,
him, but he's oh my God, he didn't invent the light bulb, but he was on Edison's team, but he created the filament that made the light bulb
yeah,
possible for everyone else. And you go, why are we not? And so we spent
yeah,
like an hour in this one little house, and we're like, how great is that?
yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's super
so
cool. I'm on the Latimer House's, like, newsletter. So they send out stuff all the time when they have, like, small gatherings, events, like, workshops, like, shows, like, different things going on, so that's such a cool touch point.
there's a bone museum in
Yeah.
Brooklyn. I got to go figure out what that's about. I don't know. There's a
Wow.
bookstore in the East Village that's all about animals. I got to go
Yeah,
find it, So
yeah, there's always something. I love
there's
that.
always something.
Yeah, and I
So
feel like, especially as I've gotten older too, even revisiting certain parts of the city with friends, sometimes I'm just like, wow, these are my old stomping grounds. It's like you
yeah.
almost forget if you haven't been there or seen it in a while. And I'm just like, it's always nice to be reminded that there's still so much magic and there's still so much to see. So,
I think it was a few months ago. It's funny you said that. I was in Central Park. I was giving a tour, and we were at Bethesda Terrace, and it
yeah,
was right in the middle there. And it was just a glorious day, like the middle of autumn. And I just kind of sat there, and my guests were like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "I live here. Like, I can't believe I've been here 14 years." And I'm like, "I can't believe I live here." And like to
yeah,
feel that all the time is. It's amazing. And that's what I want my guests to feel like.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah.
And that's what the city brings.
Yeah.
How do I give that to them in the way that's best for them? And
Yeah.
I love that you feel it. I love that you can go to the same places over and over and go, yeah,
Yeah.
it's New York.
Yes, absolutely. That's so true. Adam, this has been so good. This has been such a fun conversation. Thank you for sharing so much. Thank you for showing
You're
up with
welcome.
such incredible energy and really wonderful. Can you let folks know where to find you, support your work, how to book a tour with you, all of the
Sure.
things?
Yeah, no. So I have a website, which is iknowaguy.nyc. It's not .com. I couldn't get that. So it's iknowaguy.nyc. And on there, it'll show you kind of all the places I go. It'll tell you how to contact me. It'll tell you what I charge. I'm very transparent about what it is. Stalk me on social media. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. I don't do TikTok because I don't dance. But you know what's nice? I do a lot of posting, and it's a mix of my stories of my guests, some cool things about the city, some just fun photographs, the occasional dog on the subway because that's cute. And so there's that. And feel free to reach out to me. I literally put my phone number and my email address on my website. You're going to get a call from me. There's no other guy that's going to reach out to you. My cat is not calling you. So there's that. I'll reach out. And even if you don't book a tour, that's okay. If you need a little help, you need a little nudge, I'll help you out. Now that you know me, you know a guy in the city.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Adam. I'll be sure to link all of that in the show notes. This is really incredible.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Leah.
And thank you, everyone, for listening. Bye. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Muse Mastery. I hope this conversation felt like nourishment for your creative spirit. If you enjoyed the episode, share it, leave a 5-star rating and a written review, and pass it along to someone who needs it. Let me know what you're taking away from this episode, from your reflections to any questions, by sending a text or a voice note to the show, and I'll respond in a future episode. Your support keeps the space alive and growing. Until next time, creative, keep showing up for your creativity with purpose, devotion, and audacity.